Good evening. The evening news. Babatunde Bolatito is my name. Pope George Francis in the Vatican City presided over Easter Vigil Mass in St. Peter's Basilica, a day after unseasonably chilly weather in Rome convinced the recently ailing pontiff to skip Good Friday's nighttime procession at the Colosseum. The evening Basilica service began in darkness when the Basilica's cavernous interior was suddenly birthed in life, reflecting the Christian belief that Jesus rose from the death by crucifixion and that goodness can triumph over evil. Today, tens of thousands of faithful joined the Pope in St. Peter's Square to observe the Easter Mass and to listen to a speech about conflicts in the world at the end of the Holy Week. At the start of the Easter Vigil, Pope Francis was arriving in a wheelchair he used it to cope with knee pain. Inside the wax of a tall candle cross and the first and last letters of the Greek alphabet, Alpha and Omega, are the numerals of this year. He then laid the candle and carried by cleric up Basilica Center aisle, past darkened pews filled with the faithful, dozens of cardinals and others. Osho State Governor, Senator Ademola Adeleke, has enjoined Christians to use the occasion of Easter celebrations to reflect on the essence of divine sacrifice by Jesus Christ. This is contained in the governor's Easter message signed by spokesperson Madam Olawale Rashid, noting that Easter impressed on humanity the unquantifiable power of love tasked Christian faithful to let the valuable lessons of Jesus' sacrifice reflect on them all the time. He also charged Christians to hold on to the message of love and compassion, which are the basis of the Easter celebrations, saying that with love, people will not only enjoy a peaceful society, but also make it the right progress. Governor Adeleke said Easter is a classical example of the power of love through Jesus Christ, who laid his life to save mankind from the consequences of their transgressions. Nigerians have been admonished to use the occasion of the Easter celebration to reflect on the essence of the divine sacrifice of Jesus Christ by genuinely showing love to one another. This was the high point of the Easter message delivered by clerics in some of the churches visited by Osbc News in Osogbo, the state capital. Worshippers trooped out in large numbers to their various churches for special Easter service, where they prayed, sang, danced in thanksgiving to God who made it possible to witness the celebration. Some of the churches visited by Osbc News include St. Andrew's Anglican Church, Okebale, Celestial Church of Christ, Obalende Parish, Calvary Baptist Church, Methodist Church of Nigeria of Fatedo, CSC Victory Assembly, Dada State, among others, where Christians gathered for the celebration and also filled their souls with the words of God. The clerics equally enjoin Nigerians not to lose hope in the country, adding that if Christ can rise from the dead, nothing is difficult for God. Hence, hope in the resurrection of Nigeria must be kept alive. 10 months after St. Francis Catholic Church, located in Ondo State, was attacked by gunmen, the church opened today for religious activities. It will be recalled that on June last year, some gunmen attacked the church and killed some of the worshippers, while others left injured. The governor of the state, Rotimi Akeredolu, who is also hailed from Owo, had visited the scene to commiserate with the church and the entire town, relieve families of those who lost their beloved ones. The free medical and surgical outreach provided by Senator Ademola Adeleke's administration is a life-saving initiative for the benefit of the people of Osun State, irrespective of their tribe, religion, age, or political affiliation. The Chief Medical Director of Union Osun Teaching Hospital, Professor Peter Olaitan, stated this when speaking on the Yoruba sensitization program, Imole jointly put in place by the Office of the Spokesperson to the Governor, Madam Olawale Rashid, and the management of Osbc. According to Professor Olaitan, thousands of patients suffering from one ailment or the other have benefited from the governor's medical intervention in 8 federal constituencies visited so far by the medical team, while the exercise will be rounded off on Wednesday and Thursday this week in Osbc Federal Constituency. Venue is the State Specialist Hospital, Ashubia Osbc. Professor Lighton is also the chairman of the committee in charge of the free medical and surgical outreach and join the people who need medical attention to go for registration, where the medical doctors will attend to them on Wednesday and Thursday. And now to sports. Israel Adesanya has reclaimed the UFC middleweight from Alex Pereira in the event of UFC 278 at the FTX Arena in Miami, Florida this morning. The knockout came from nowhere as Pereira was initially on the offensive. Pereira was unleashing body hooks and knees to the ribs, with Adesanya backed against the cage when the challenger threw a right hook out of nowhere. He froze Pereira, so similar to the end of the first round in their last fight. But that time there was no bruiser to save Pereira. The next punch dropped him and was hold after the fist. Adesanya suffered a controversial point loss to Pereira in the first fight, a kickboxing match, while in their rematch, also in kickboxing, Adesanya was leading but was knocked out. In November, in the first MMA clash again, Adesanya was ahead but he was beaten in the final round. Saudi Arabia has freed more than a dozen Houthi detainees ahead of a wider prisoner release agreed upon by warring sides. According to a spokesman of the Yemeni rebel group, the release came as Omani officials arrived in the Yemeni capital Sana'a as part of international efforts to end Yemen's long years of conflict. A Houthi official in charge of prisoner exchange talks in Yemen conflict, Abdul Qaeda Mortada, said on Twitter that 13 Houthi prisoners have arrived in Sana'a. He added that the prisoners are released in exchange for Saudi prisoners the Houthi had freed earlier. The United Nations Special Envoy to Yemen has said that the deal is one of the several developments reflecting movement toward the end of the 8-year conflict that has killed tens of thousands of people and created one of the worst humanitarian disasters. And that was the evening news on Osbc TV. Please join us at 7 for Dateline. Good evening.